this of estimate. In that first we have taken this is acid. Acid is taken 25 ml of acid. We already prepared the 1 liter of dilute HCl. You don't know how much of the HCl it is a acid liquid, whether it is 10 ml is you can add it, 20 ml you can add it. You cannot identify. So far, you take the potentiometer, take the two electrode, dip it into the 25 ml of sample. So you stir it, you blow it, and you can connect it those to this potentiometry of a meter of space. Then you can add, before adding of concentrated, that is zero point 0.5 normal of NaOH, before you can adding what is its potential, you should know it. So already this word is potential, means potentiometry, potential, these terms are very familiar to you because already you have learnt in the first module. So in that first module, electrode potential means it is the nature or the tendency of measuring the loss of electrons, gain of electrons, become the metal become an ions. Then we can call it as a electrode. What it is, we can call it as a electrode potential. As that potential is at the time, what is the, how do you find out this potential of batteries? The EMF is equal to E of cathode minus E of anode. At the time only you can find out the standard or electrode potential of each electrode. Now we want this find out the electrode potential of solutions. At the time we can take two electrodes, those two electrodes dipped into the solution. Already you know that potential of two electrodes, already you know the potential of two electrodes. So in that, so one, before adding of sodium hydroxide to this, the beaker containing HCl, note down what is the potential of that acid. So afterwards you note it, you can proceed. That is look like of 100 what is that, 100 millivolts or 200 millivolts, like that number will come. So as the same way, so after you can add 0.5 ml of 0.5 ml of sodium hydroxide to the acid. You blow the solution, immediately that 100 millivolts of potential become 120. At the time of you are adding the 0.5 ml of sodium hydroxide. So this next, again you blow the solution, add 0.5 ml of sodium hydroxide, then you can blow the solution. You see the potential, that is 140 millivolts. So you can add again 0.5 ml, that is 1.5 ml is burette reading. At the time you can get this potential is 140. Like you can add 0.5 ml. So in the second column, only 20 millivolts, 20 millivolts keep on increasing. You can keep on adding, blow the solution. The potential of HCl is keep on rising. So as the same way, 1.5 ml is over 2 ml is over 2.5 ml is over 3 ml is over 4 ml is over 4.5 ml is over complete 5 ml also. At any of these numbers around the 10 ml or more than 10 ml also no problem. Around the 10 ml, exactly 4.5 or 5 ml, should have 120 milliamperes, 130, 140, 160, 180. So immediately you can get one maximum increasing, that is steeply increasing. We can call it as a equivalence point, that is steeply increasing of potential of HCl, that has steeply increased. That point we can call it as a equivalence point. That equivalence point means the maximum amount of titrant is used, titrant is used to react with the analyte. So that is what we can call it as a equivalent point. So afterwards that equivalent point is enough. So instead of you can stop the titration, you can keep on continuing. You got it 5 ml, after 3-4 trials again you can 0.5 ml you can add. So instead of 120, 160, 500 you got, that is the equivalence point. Then so you what is that, again 0.5 ml you can add. So in after 500 you can get 520 or 530. Again you blow it, you add the 0.5 ml of sodium hydroxide, you got the 560. So 20 or 30 again keep on increasing. That is not ending, keep on increasing. So, but this steeply increasing point is, we can call it as jumping point. Jump you can get it. That is the equivalence point. You can steeply increase the point. That is, we can call it as a equivalent point. Means the maximum titrant is react with the analyte to getting this point, we can call it as equivalent point. So for these two lines are over, experiment is over. The third line is potential, that is delta E. In the delta E for 0 we can get 100 millivolts. So for after 5 ml you can adding, you can get 120 millivolts. So 120 minus 100 is, that is delta E. So for 1 ml, so 140 minus 120, that is delta E. So for 1.5 ml, 160 minus 140 is, that is delta E. The delta E is supposed to be keep on constant also, little bit varied also. We don't bother to that. Only we are bothering about of is what we can get it as a the potentials. First line is the volume of sodium hydroxide. Second line is the each potential. So then we can subtraction of say its last values. Subtract with last values, we can call it as delta potential. So followed by delta V. Delta V means it is volume. Volume of titrant. How much you added for each increment is 0.5 ml. You can constantly rating of 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So that column entirely you can roughly or before you can starting the experiment also you can fill it, no problem. The fifth column is delta E by delta V. That is 120. So in that starting by 0.5 ml. So that is 120 by 0.5 is, you can get it as 2 point. So like that you are this doubling, what you can get this delta E, that value become doubled because delta V is 0.5. It is keep on. So where you can get the steep increases, or you can where you can get jump of that, where you can get the equivalence point in that 500 means you will get the around 1000 or 960, 980, or it might be the 1000 also, that is no problem. So far we can plot this two graphs. One is for equivalence point, another one is for what we can get it as a, that is it is strength of the solutions. One for equivalence point, another one is for strength of the solution. We can going to we can going to find out. So what is you can got, you will do it for pH experiments also. Both these procedure for pH pKa determination, for potentiometric estimation, for conductometric estimation, all the same type of the procedure, but different instruments we have used. In that different instruments we have used, finally we can get it to going to find out the how much of salt is dissolved in 1 liter of DM water. So whether it is salt or it is acid or it is base, whatever else, how much of we have added, before that we can label and mention it as known solution, no problem, no need of potentiometry. Supposed to forget, don't throw the unknown solution. You can set up the instrument, you can whether you can taking the acids, you can take the base and find out the potential. So that what you can get this bell shaped curve of the, you can see that notes.
Sir, your voice is cracking, sir.
Voice cracking. Voice cracking means okay. Then you can listen it then. So I'm not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes it is going down here.
Going down, I'm not decreasing of my voice, but same I'm continuing. So little bit of this problem of net. So at the time you can make it adjust. So any of the you are having the doubts, you can call me later after the class. So I can clarify your doubts through phones. In that
Okay.
bell-shaped curve we can get it, that point of the curve is what we can call it as equivalence point. It means 5 ml. 5 ml of sodium hydroxide is used to find out the equivalence point of HCl. So that 5 ml, you can get into the graph at the time of calculation. N1 into V1. N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. Here N1 is find out the normality of HCl, you will going to find out. That is N1 is equal to N2 V2 by divided by V1. So V1 means how much we have taken the pipette out the HCl is 25 ml. So divided by 25 ml, what is the burette reading of? That is equivalence point is 5 ml. 5 into this, what is the normality of base, that is standard solution is 0.5. 0.5 into 5 divided by 25. So at the time, so finally afterwards you can get it. Then what you can get the normality into its molecular weights. HCl molecular weight 36.5. You can calculate at the time, you can get it how much of acid, strong concentrated 100% HCl, you have to dilute it to the water. How many ml you can get it as, you will get it. So this procedure we have to use the potentiometric estimation of either acid bases or redox reactions or precipitation. So now in that we can coming towards of a redox titration. So in that redox titration, once we can get it as oxidizing agent, another one is we can get it as reducing agent. Here potentiometric estimation of FAS. This FAS means it is reducing agent. It is a reducing agent. So far we want oxidizing agent is a potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O4, K2Cr2O7, so K2MnO4, potassium permanganate. Any of these substances or compounds supplying the oxygen, we can call it as a oxidizing agent. So at the time it is itself it is reduced, and it is itself is reduced, it can oxidize the other one. So for here FAS, ferrous ammonium sulfate, it is an analyte. So how we have taken the HCl in the first time, as the same way you are taking the any of FAS, whether it is that FAS, ferrous ammonium sulfate, ferrous sulfate, ammonium sulfate, 6H2O. Also it is called at Morse salt because it has discovered by the Morse. So we can call it as Morse salt. It is a double salt. It is a ammonium sulfate, ferrous sulfate. Along with this, because of the crystals, we are adding the 6H2O. 6 molecules of H2O we added. Then it becomes the crystalline forms. That is, we can call it as ferrous ammonium sulfate. Shortly we can use it as a FAS. For this afterwards, you can any of this 1 gram are dissolved in 1 liter, or 2 grams, 3 grams, or 5 grams, whatever else you can dissolve. At the time, if you forget to enter the how much of the FAS dissolved in that, don't waste it, keep it aside. So in that you pipette out 25 ml of unknown solution of FAS, ferrous ammonium sulfate, pipetted to the beaker. That 5 ml you can add H2SO4, 1:1 or dilute, no problem. It prevents the formation of ferrous hydroxide. If you form the ferrous hydroxide, what is the procedure for COD? You can recall it. So in this reverse of this COD and potentiometry both, reversing of that in the COD. So we have taken the ferrous ammonium sulfate as a standard solution. Potassium dichromate we are using as oxidizing agent. Here reverse. Ferrous ammonium sulfate is taking into as a analyte. Standard potassium dichromate is taking into as a standard solution. So far, so we have to use it. So afterwards, we can take 0.05 normality of potassium dichromate also you will take it. So concentrated H2SO4 also you will take it. So then, so if you put out the 25 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate in the beaker, then you keep it under the 25 ml of burette or 50 ml, whatever else is available, you can use it. So you fill this 0.05 normality of potassium dichromate, you fill to the burette, then add 5 ml of H2SO4 to this analyte, that is ferrous ammonium sulfate. To that afterwards, you can keep both the electrode, that is one is anode, another one is cathode. Which is the anode? platinum electrode is anode, so it is also called it as a indicator electrode. Because of this, if it is varied the concentration of the analyte, automatically varied the potential of this electrode, so far we can call it as indicator electrodes that we have used. And calomel, it is a fixed, so far we can keep it same. We can use the stirrer, you draw the 5 lines. You can, instead of this NaOH, we are adding of potassium dichromate 0.5 ml, keep on adding. So before adding the 0.5 ml to this potassium dichromate to the FeS, so you can see the potential 25 ml of FeS potential, you will read it. That is, if you can get it as 200. So 200 volts, 200 milliamperes, you can call it as the current. These units of current, it can show it volts. We can using a volts. So 200 millivolts. So after you can add 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate, you blow the solution in that against of the second column 220 or 240, you will get it. So next you continue again, you 0.5 ml add, blow the solution, you can get the 260. Again 0.5 ml can add, blow the solution, you can get 280. Again you will add 0.5 ml, so it is keep on adding at the time of 5 ml or 6 ml. So at the time 240, 260, 280, 300, 320, immediately you will get it as a 400 or 500 or 800 also. How much of its potential is there, how much of that FAS is dissolved is in the 1 liter of DM water or any liters, immediately we can measure it. And how much of this unknown solution is there, we can immediately we can notify it and may measure it also. Immediately the steep increasing of the reactions, we can call it as a equivalence point. Based on this equivalence point only, we can estimate how much of the salt is dissolved in 1 liter of DM water. So this reaction we can call it as a redox reaction. Here ferrous ammonium sulfate is into this FAS, ferrous becomes ferric, that is oxidized, because of we can getting as oxidizing agent. That potassium dichromate is +6 state is going to reduce to the +3 state. Oxidizing agent, reducing agent, so you will get it. So then you can afterwards 500 or 600 you will get it, that steep point or equivalent point or jump of that values, jumping point, we can call it as a equivalence point. Same definition, the maximum titrant is using to complete reaction with the analyte. So afterwards, so it is keep on again 0.5 ml, you can up to the 10 ml you can continue. So then you will plot the graph. So in that you can fill the third line, that is the 0.5 ml 2 to 40 minus 200, because before adding of the potassium dichromate, what you can get it as 200 millivolts, milliamps, that is minus the last the subtraction of its last values, we can get it as a delta E, that is difference in the potential. As the same way, fourth line is 0.5, it is at each time how much ml, if you adding a 0.25 ml, no problem, 0.5 ml keep on adding, that is the delta V. 0.5 ml we added, the delta V column we can fill it into as a delta that is delta V. The last column is delta E by delta V. So 240 is you can get, in the last column is 480. 280, 560, like the doubling of the values at one point where you got the equivalence point, immediately you can get it as a bell-shaped curve. This x-axis is volume of potassium dichromate, y-axis is a potential of a FAS, that is potential EMF versus this volume of potassium dichromate. At the time you can get this bell, that is bell shape curve, where you can get this tip of this bell shape, that is the equivalent point, the quite correspond exact corresponding to this x-axis, immediately you can note down. So that is the end of the experiment. So you plot it. If for potentiometry one graph is enough, but theoretical explanation you can if you know the strength, half of that pKa point, half of the pH, half of the potential is, we can call it as a pKa values. For this second graph is helping. For second graph we can take the first and second column values. For first graph, we can taking the first and last column values. For both the first columns is common to the both the experiment, both this graph. So it is a common we have to use it. Afterwards, we can what is this equivalence point, that is 5 ml. So 5 into 0.05 divided by this V1 is 25 ml. Already you can pivot out. So you can get it as the normality of a FAS. That normality of FAS multiplied by its equivalent values. What is its equivalent values? So that is 392, exactly 391.4. Now we are using up 391.4. You can multiply immediately. You can get it as how much of ferrous ammonium sulfate you can add it. So that much of number you can get it. So that is we can go into this using of potentiometry. For this you can got. So as the same it can pass on to these precipitations also. At the time you can keep both the electrodes into these precipitation reactions. Example of you can taking into as a sodium chloride and silver nitrate, AgNO3 versus sodium chloride, NaCl. So at the time, so you can got it as what is this result is you can taking the sodium chloride solution as analyte. You will taking the precipitation reactions of silver nitrate, AgNO3, AgNO3 0.5 ml, 0.5 normality or 0.1 normality AgNO3 can filter the burette. You can taking any sodium chloride, any much of 1 gram is dissolved in 1 liter, 2 gram is dissolved in 1 liter, or 5 gram is dissolved in 1 liter. So any number it is already dissolved. Suppose if you want to test it, whether it is completely sodium chloride, how much is dissolved, you can take AgNO3, fill to the burette, take the 25 ml of sodium chloride. So then keep on adding up this 0.5 ml of AgNO3. So that is this, you see the potential in this potentiometer. So before adding of AgNO3, you can read the readings 200 or 300, whatever this minimum volts you can get it, you got it. So 0.5 ml you can add, blow the solution, note down the reading. 0.5 ml add, note down the readings. Keep on adding up 0.5 ml at one point. Instead of 120, 130, 160, immediately get it as 400, 500. That is keep increasing of values. You can get the equivalence point. That equivalence point is deciding you. This is the potentiometric estimation. At the time it can get completely precipitation. It look like of this slurry, look like of any color is also changed. It become the solution become thick. It has formed, and afterwards you can keep down, settle down at the bottom. That is what we can call it as AgNO3, silver nitrate is react with silver plus AgCl as formed. That is not dissolved in this DM water. So it is kept at settled at the bottom. This is precipitation reaction. For explain the theory of potentiometry means you can take any one example. What is potentiometry? So based on the potential, that is EMF, difference between the two electrode EMF were dipped into the solution. So it can already know it is equal to E naught plus 0.0591 divided by n into this log of mn plus is already knowing of electrode potential of Nernst equation. From the with the help of Nernst equation, you can going to find out. Here in this calculation, so you are using of this. So here ferrous become ferric. So for you taking into as ferric in this divided by ferrous, at the time you can taking these negative signs. So you can calculate it. So these afterwards both the minus of from plus ferrous, first you can take the ferric, then you will take this potassium bichromate. Both you can individually calculated, one minus another. So Fe, because it is only compared to the chromium and iron, iron is acted as cathode, the chromium is acted as anode. You minus that immediately. So what is the potential of FAS? You can got it. So before, afterwards you can calculate that potential. Before that we can calculate how much of salt of FAS is completely dissolved in 1 liter of DM water. This is theory of and practical explanation of potentiometry. In this potentiometry, anybody going to define is the measurement or determination of equivalence point of redox titration on the basis of potential measurement. This definition is continued to all, whether it is using of this potential measurement of EMF of electrodes on the basis of potential measurement. What is its potential? So with the help of determination of equivalence point, determination of equivalence point of acid, determination of equivalence point of FAS, determination of equivalence point of sodium chloride, in the solution equivalence point of redox titration, of neutralized titration, of precipitation titration on the basis of potential measurement. This is what we can call it as a what we can call it as a potentiometric estimation of FAS, potentiometric estimation of HCl, potentiometric estimation of sodium NaCl. So this is the experiment. So far, any of the experiments we have used in this chemistry, in that the advantages are more. The advantages are more in terms. So if it is very less, it is 1 gram is dissolved or 0.1 gram is dissolved. Any less quantity of salt is dissolved, that can also we can calculate very accurate. So far it is used in these pharmaceuticals, in that preparation of tablets, preparation of tonics at the time. Any minute 0.001 ml is also 0.0001 gram also very accurately we are using to measuring with the help of this potentiometry. In any of this, how much of the pollution is there in the water also, that hardness, it's ppm. In this also we can using for to estimate how much of sodium chloride is there, potassium chloride is there, any other things is there, we can using. Against to that, it's a neutralization reaction, you take the acids, you take the base. If it is potentiometer redox reaction, you can take the oxidizing agents. If it is a precipitation reactions, you can taking of a precipitation agents, you will take it and to estimate. As the same, it is using of this textiles industry, explosive of energies, paper industry, and including of qualitative analysis of food industries also. Any other minute particles are there, we are going to estimate by this of um, potentiometry. So far today is potentiometry is enough. So in the next class tomorrow we will conduct the conductometry. Okay, thank you.
స్క్రీన్ షాట్ ఎంత తగ్గింది ఇందులో
So far, okay. So let we see on tomorrow. Screenshot.
ಈಗ ತೆಗಿರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಜೊತೆ ತೆಗಿರಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶಾಟ್
Okay. Thank you.
ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ವೆರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಗೆ ಸಿ ಎಸ್ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕಳ್ಸಿದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಫೋಟೋಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನು ತುಂಬ ಡೀಟೇಲಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿ